Hello everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Automation Rocketship. In this channel, we'll be sharing a lot of meaningful content about RPA. And we will be having more meaningful discussion around the business, the technical content, and we will have some experts from the industry. Like for instance, for today's episode, we have a couple of UiPath MVPs joining us, sharing their journey. So please join me in welcoming Andy Menon and Pradeep Shukla.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Amazing. So Andy, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, thank you, Priya and Pradeep, for working with me on this, and I truly love how you guys are participating with me on coming aboard the Automation Rocketship. So yes, my name is Andy Menon. I am an integrations engineer and RPA SME, and I started in the late 90s as a programmer, and I had a background in Microsoft technologies as a MCSD. And most of my work was based with C++ and then later .NET and SQL Server. But majority of my career, I have been doing database work and integration work. But then during the course of my job, I always used to find ways to make things better. I wouldn't settle at the first solution. I would always go back, revisit the solution and make it better. So I had an automation mindset to begin with. To the point that some of my coworkers named me Automenon, right? So I already had that tendency, and when RPA came along, because one of our other sister companies was using UiPath, it simply started off as a kickoff meeting between UiPath engineers and our team. And before we knew it, I was on my way to creating 7 proof of concept. And demonstrating them, and each of the concepts worked without breaking. And I found out through that experience that UiPath being predominantly built on Microsoft stack, and my background being a programmer in .NET and C# helped me tremendously to get started with the technology. So by the time I knew it, I had completed probably about half a dozen courses on the academy. And I had already finished my level 3 certification on the UiPath Academy, and I've been doing RPA since.
Amazing, Andy. I mean, are you telling me that you were born with this chip of automation?
Must be. My brother once told me that I have a microchip in my head. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
That's nice. Okay. Hey, Pradeep. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience as well?
Sure. Hey, Andy, hey, Priya. So it's really nice to be getting together for our first episode, and I really am excited to be working with you. You guys are 2-3 years MVPs, and I'm just joining into this team. And I look forward to add more and more contributions to see what else we can add to the community. So myself, Pradeep Shukla, I work as a solutions architect. I have also a similar background. I started with Microsoft technologies back in the days of VB6, if any of you remember. VB6 scripting and all that, right? So I started with that, to slowly transition to .NET over the years. Building various different kind of solutions, but in terms of what Andy talked about, right, bringing automation and scripting, so it starts with any kind of scripting is also predominantly the basic building block of automation. So in similar terms, I started with PowerShell, Bash shells. So I created those scripts from time to time. Even in SQL, we used to create scripting to make it much more efficient processes. And with time, I transitioned to various .NET frameworks. I also meddled with some Java, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of it. Or maybe I didn't spend too much time on it, I would say. But yeah, with my introduction to RPA is pretty interesting. It came from out of nowhere. I was actually working on one of the .NET projects. It's for a big organization, big customer for us. So I was like head down in that, and all of a sudden, one of my business unit CTOs actually just timed me and asked me, "Do you know about this RPA? What is this?" And back then, I was in addition to my regular work, I was more involved in machine learning, and that was more kind of my pet peeve. I was trying to get into all regression analytics, and building some work on that area. But RPA was not nowhere in my horizon in terms of what I was looking for. And he just asked me, look into it. What is this? And come back in 2 weeks and tell me what's out there. So that's how I kind of got into it. And I said, okay, let me look into it. Back then, this was around like November 2017, I would say. It was very early stages. And obviously, UiPath was already out there. It was one of the products, and interestingly, uh, based on my assessment of at that time, we did pick up UiPath. We started with UiPath, and since then it has been a long, but a very fruitful and exciting journey over the years. I would say when I in 2022, when I look at myself in 2017 and look at UiPath platform in 2017, I think we have really come a long way. And I see from here, future is really bright for UiPath and the whole platform. And because of the whole MVP program and the whole community, I would say a lot of credit goes to that.
I think I'd like to like associate myself to that like timeline as well. I'd like to associate to this kind of analogy where I think like UiPath was in its infancy stage during that
Yeah.
time, like during 2017. So like when I started my RPA journey as well, like I was starting like from scratch, right? Like I didn't know ABCs as well. So it was like my learning curve and the UiPath platform like grew up like in an exponential way. Like now, if you look at like the whole platform, it has like over 20 products, and it's really like hard to keep up with like all the different UiPath products that we have. And there is like so much to learn like for us, like every day, even if you spend like 2 hours a day, I don't think it'll be enough to like capture like everything. So it's not easy to be like jack of like all trades or like being mastering everything. I think like we are like able to like successfully like at least deploy like the projects that our customers wants, and it's like on a need to learn basis, right? Like, and there is this kind of like intuitiveness. Like one thing that I see common among us is that like we all have this kind of like mentality where you want to learn, like regardless like of our work. At least for me, like right before coming into RPA, I was like a software developer like for over 9 years. And I was like into like everything, like be it like coding, deployment, installations. We had like a third-party product that takes like 7 hours to install. So for me, like doing a PowerShell script was like an automation that involved like reducing the steps. So I started in like a selfish way to say like, how do I reduce these 7 hours? I just don't want to sit in front of my computer for like 7 hours, like waiting for this installation to complete, like while I'm doing so many steps. And it had like 255 steps, if I'm not mistaken, just
Oh
to
my
do like
God.
one
Yeah.
software installation. So like having a team with 5 people and seeing all of them suffer, to me it was like selfish, like trying to see like how do I save these people from pain. And then like you start learning about RPA, it was like my mind was blown.
I think that Priya, sometimes a selfish act can end up becoming the most selfless act, because once you know that you have invented something or come up with something that makes your life better, you have, indirectly made someone else's life better. You know what I mean? And I think that learning things only makes you better. And scientifically, it has been proven that. It retards your aging process. It keeps your brain sharp, and this is true in case of scientific research and in research engineers, research scientists, and all those folks we see teaching at universities, right? And you see much older people still in that business of theorizing, postulating, inventing things, even if it means they are not capable of doing it themselves, but they are participating with a younger troop of scientists and engineers, right? So I think that we are in the business of learning, and when we learn something, we do so to make things better for us, but in the process we end up propagating that out to people to make life better for them, right? And that's, I think, one of the goals of automation, because more and more we see overqualified people doing underqualified jobs, which has to change in the future.
That's definitely like, an acquired skill. Like when I started all of this, like I stumbled upon this like UiPath forum and the community by like trying to like get answers to my question. But then like eventually I learned that like if I can like impart this kind of little knowledge that I have, if I can share it with somebody else, then I felt like my knowledge was growing, because the more they asked me questions, it drove me to like learning like how, like why are we doing this. So that kind of curiosity is what like drives us as a community. And then like it became like a habit, like eventually like I spent time on the community, like trying to like help somebody else. And then like it felt like, okay, you gather knowledge not just by like doing your own like projects or like doing just like your own day jobs, but then like you started like gaining this kind of like a acquired love for like helping others.
Correct.
And it becomes like you said, Andy, like just like from selfish to like selfless, that's how like it transforms you, this whole community. And like to me, like I'm
The
impressed
purpose
with
of
the people.
communities, purpose of community is to not, I would say, okay, helping each other. That's a good, that's the positive of it. But at the same time, the best part of it is pushing each other to the next level, because that's the key part of it, right? If I want to find a solution, maybe I can spend 10 hours and I'll find it, right? But if we have a community, and we don't, not everyone has to be an expert of everything, right? If you have a community, you can let other folks know. Maybe someone knows, like maybe Andy knows more about that particular area. So rather than me reinventing the wheel, I can take help from him, because that works as a slingshot. Because now I am not at his level, but definitely I am not at my level either. I'm somewhere in between, right? Now that helps me grow, but at the same time it pushes me, because now I know that he definitely has better understanding. He explained me this in such a way that, okay, now I can be independent of my own and I can go to the next level. So that dynamics, right, of a community, that's a very interesting part of it, man. And that's a social experiment in also, and that's also part of the game theory, right? It's how you push each other, how you motivate each other to go to the next level, to try your boundaries, to challenge your boundaries.
Yeah. I think it's happening to all of us. I always believed to be behind. I've said this before, but I always believed myself to be a person behind the curtain, right? I was very hesitant to come on video. I'm camera averse. I personally did not like it. But then when I started interacting with the UiPath community, I found that this community is very warm, very friendly, and slowly I outgrew some of those inhibitions that I have. And look where I am, starting from what you folks mentioned. If you go and look for UiPath videos on YouTube 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and you see that UI, you'll be shocked that that was something you started with, right? Yeah. And fast forward to today, a person who wasn't even, didn't like to make videos or something. Today I have like 42 videos, I think, on RPA Vanguard channel, my personal channel where I teach RPA. And I am talking to you guys, and that is correct. What you said is we break those barriers. We try to become better than ourselves when we are surrounded by the right kind of environment that fosters learning, fosters similar thought patterns, and most of all fosters motivation, so I think that's a big takeaway from what you said, Pradeep.
And Andy, no one will believe that, like, if you said like you had those kind of inhibitions, if people have watched your videos or if they have interacted with you. So Pradeep, like, just like you said, like it's really nice, like, to be a part of that community, like where you feel like you're not alone, because like learning
Right.
any kind of new technology, you feel like overwhelmed by like, oh my God, I need to learn like this new thing because it's a buzzword, or because like your manager says so. But there are people that are just like curious cats like us, that just want to learn and they just want to spend time like trying to see like what's new out there. Because for me, like when I was like doing my job, I reached this kind of like a plateau where I thought like, okay, .NET development can only take me this far. Like nothing
Yeah.
wrong there, but like there was like a plateau that I reached, that I felt like, okay, I need something more challenging. So I like kind of like push myself to say like, okay, what if I just find another job? And then while I was switching jobs, I just like had this random call with an interviewer who just asked me, do you know UiPath? I was like, can you spell that out for me? So I literally asked the spelling to that person.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's how like I started, like, to be honest,
Yeah.
because of that, thanks to that interviewer.
I come from mechanical engineering background, and I used to see people come to work every day. I was a process planning engineer, and they would, every person at the manufacturing station would do a certain part of the operation. And I would see some people going 8 hours with the exception to the coffee break and lunch break. They would keep doing the same motions over and over and over again. And then, computers arrived, and then I started taking night classes on computers. And one of the graphic that was shown in that computer class when we got started, I think within the first week of getting started, was a graphic. I wish I could find it. It said that computers were made to marry human intelligence with machine diligence, right? Humans are intelligent, but they're not diligent, right? We get, like Priya,
Right.
what you said, we hit
We
a
get
plateau,
distracted.
we get frustrated, we get bored. Even the most strictest of human beings who have discipline can't do the same thing precisely the same way when you ask them to do it twice, right? But computers or machines aren't that way. They are diligent. As long as you give them the right conditions, they can work without complaint, without interruption, right? And they can do the same thing over and over again. So that graphic kind of seared in my head. And when I slowly transitioned from being a mechanical engineer to being what I am today, I always approach that solutions with that mindset, because if you try to do something where you're coming back and fixing that solution every day, it's like a car that doesn't start every day, right? That's not a good solution.
You have to jump it every day.
Exactly. And the second thing is, if your team is going through a traumatic experience or a bad experience or a frustrating experience every day because of the system you're built, then that's not the right approach either. So that is why, following up on what Priya said, we are all not just curious cats, we are inquisitive cats, right? We not only are curious, but we go beyond and ask questions. And that's what the UiPath community is about. And then we make things better for everyone, and we share that with the community. And learning from what we have learned, hopefully they go back to their desks and say, you know what, today I'm going to change myself. I'm not going to do this stupid repetitive things every day. I'm going to spend maybe 30 minutes a day. In the next 3 weeks, I'm going to build my first automation project. How about that, right? So that's something that I think that if people are watching this, they should take away from one of the takeaways from this session.
Right.
If they take that away, I think that will be a great. I think we have done our jobs.
Yeah,
I
anyone
think
can
that's a
start.
great.
Anyone can
Sorry, go
start
ahead.
with this. Anyone can start with this, irrespective of where they are,
Yeah.
what stage of understanding of computer systems they may have. It only needs logical mind. That's all it is. So you can. There are various stages. There are various processes of the system where you can contribute, where you can learn, and that way you just not just you're increasing your learning, but also you're opening up yourself to possibilities to build some really cool software, I would say.
Yep.
Because with automation there are various forms of automation software, however you want to put it together. But the end goal is how you can do a particular task efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll
And I
hear
think,
from me
Andy,
soon.
that's a great
Right.
key takeaway, like from all of us, is that like if our audience like can like do that kind of like investment, I see that like 30 minutes of learning is like an investment to your personal self, like to grow yourself from where you are today to like 2 years down the lane. You might not like imagine the amount of like learning that you would have done along the way.
Right.
Like to see like not just from our experience, like I've seen like in the community, it's like so very uh, welcoming. Like they help out each other regardless of like where we are. Like even like there is no like restrictions or there is no boundaries.
Correct.
This
Correct.
is like automation without boundaries for
Yeah.
us.
Taking your point and what Pradeep said, building software systems and then something about breaking barriers and like you said, there are no bounds. You'll hear from me soon because I'm trying to merge RPA with the Internet of Things, and I'm trying to do something which you'll hear from me in a few weeks. But that's the kind of thing we want to talk on this channel, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
We want to
absolutely.
bring in, but at the same time, we want to provide a path, or at least direct our viewers to a path if they are just starting out. If they are already have begun their journey, then we definitely want to hear their stories, what they have to share,
Yes.
and also be help them move forward to the next level, right? And just simple automation on its own is not the end of it,
Yeah.
right? So there are immense opportunities and immense possibilities. Once you know a particular tool, you just not you don't just learn a tool, you learn an attitude to look at a problem in a certain way. And that's the most important thing in
I applaud to that, Mr. Shukla. I do, because that's the attitude. Yes, you are correct. I think you said what we wanted to say, but didn't know what to say. I think that's perfect. I really like
Well
that.
said,
Well
Pradeep.
said.
I think
Really.
that's really what our viewers want to know is like to like how do you inspire yourself to like be that like learner, to like spend time with yourself, because like this is like you learning for yourself, not just because like your company wanted. There is this push, but like before that comes from an external force, do it for yourself, like do that
Right.
like internally, so that like you move forward. And if you're watching this, viewers, like you need to know that like all these people in the community are spending time outside of their day jobs, like taking their time to say like I want to like help somebody in their RPA journey. And we have helped like so many people along the way. Like even like a simple question, we can like hop in like a quick call, like help you troubleshoot. And like we don't want you to like hit that wall and stop right there. So if y'all want to like interact with any of us, like you can check out us on our LinkedIn, like comment on our YouTube channel here, and subscribe to our channel, of course. And please, like if you're on forums, you can easily find us. Like you can just type like Andy Menon or Pradeep Shukla, or if you look for my name, like you'll be able to easily find us. So not just because of MVPs, there's like so many people out there on the community that will help us. But if you have any specific questions, please feel free to like reach out to us and like subscribe to our channel, and definitely like we'll be able to like give you like meaningful content. Looking forward to more exciting like sessions with you guys.
Yep. We'll also be talking about a lot of topics that we have been teaching since before we began this channel. You can also watch RPA Vanguard channel. You Google it, you will find that we not only teach you something in a documentation page, because usually when you want to learn something, you go to a documentation page and just follow steps A, B, C, D. But our effort is to teach you something before that and also after that, right? So when we are talking about integration service in UiPath, okay, we know how to set that up, but what do you do with it? What do you do with it?
Right.
That's
Where
what
do
we
I
try to
apply?
teach you. Correct. What is the
Exactly.
application side of it, right? So we try to teach you the application side of it. And like Pradeep said, not only are you developing that attitude, you're also expanding your horizon on how to take that attitude and apply it more constructively for yourself, for your business, and in general for the community.
And we'll try to focus on technology, tools, mindset. That's one of the most important things to achieve anything. So we'll talk about various different topics, and I think this is going to be a great. I'm looking forward for this. Is just episode 0.
0, yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I'm really excited what we have in our pipeline. We have a great plan, and we are very excited to bring that over to you. So we'll like everyone to watch out for us, like, subscribe, and join
Stay
the
tuned.
automation rocket ship.
Yep. Stay tuned for the automation rocket ship.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.